Like I wish that we can find the vaccine so we can just start where we were before. Unless we have got the vaccine, it's so hard. And then mind you that not all people are into the are a believer in vaccines.
Yeah.
So that's another hurdle you have to go past.
The glitz and glam is the fame, but it's the work backstage that makes the game. I'm Crystel and Bandal, your host. Come with me behind the lens and watch their stories unfold. As you can see from the garments behind me, it's probably the biggest hint of our next guest here today. He's very well known in the Filipino-Australian community for producing many successful events, not just for our local artists, but also for international artists. Please welcome to the show, Behind the Lens, Charles Chan. So it seems like you're still part of like performing. It's not just the hosting that you're doing or the radio stations. Would you say that you're a bit harsh on yourself sometimes?
Sometimes I am. I'm harsh on myself. I don't look because I'm not the person that if I was given a work to do, I'll just do it. I don't need praises. I don't need credits. I don't even need a pat on the back. As long as that the work is done, and I like it very much if it's geared towards making other people happy, making other people smile. Yeah, so like I said, I don't need all these trophies, no need of flags or sashes or bouquet of flowers. Yes, for me, like I said, what if you're helping, you do it without asking things in return. And I think that is should be a good definition of charity. Because if you're gonna go there and ask for some gratification in terms of like being mentioned here and there or getting awards or getting citations, the meaning of charity has been lost. That's for me anyway. That's why you said like it's always hard for me to sort of like being called up and said, "Oh, Charles, come on in." Obviously, I understand people is very appreciative.
People want to say thank you for your work.
Correct. So, but for me, once I did it, when I volunteered, just leave it to that. I just ask and just say like, don't have to sort of like mention to everybody else. And for me, I'm very much the person that if you're just here for some for being acknowledged or given a citation, well, what's the point of doing charity then?
Would you say that there's still people who do that?
Oh, there's a lot, especially in our community where I work. People are there just to sort of like get their names smelling beautiful. Oh, he did this, she did that, kind of thing. Just do your work. This is pretty much like going back to our first conversation. This is community work, community service. So you really don't want your names to be all over the place.
I've been seeing a lot as well on social media, people saying if you're going to be nice to someone, you don't need to have a camera up in their face.
What for? Do good and then he will reward you. That's my thing. So that's the reason why I don't want don't want praises and stuff, because I did that one because I'd like to do it. It's from my heart that I would share my time, my talents, the effort that I will make to make things, make sure that the project or the event is successful. I guess like everyone has got their own philosophy in life, and that's mine. So
so that carries into FlagCon, the events that you're creating.
Albert and I shares the same kind of like principle, which is like just to sort of like do your work, know that the people that are receiving the benefits of it are happy, they're smiling, they feel fulfilled. That's for us is also a fulfillment. Once we've done the job, that's it. We finish there, we move on to the next one. Who else can we help?
That's good. Well, you're still doing events now. So do you want to talk about
events now?
What you're doing now in 2020?
In terms of like with the FlagCon and stuff, everything is stopped because of the coronavirus. We did have one that we were supposed to travel to South Korea, but that's been put on hold because of the pandemic. To be honest, we don't have anything that is scheduled because all the shows been cancelled. There's no shows in the foreseeable future up until next year. So the only one that will probably be concentrating is if it will be no second wave will be our Mardi Gras show in February, and hopefully it will be another event. We just don't know. In terms of, so that's FlagCom in our event. We have the launch of our CD for that. We have got other events that's not until next year, so that one will just sort of like, bit by bit, see how we go. When the government relaxes the restriction, then that for us we can make more planning big blow, because you plan and then there's not gonna happen again. So that would be a big setback. Personally, I'm still working with the disability sector in the society. In the society, I'm working with people with acquired brain injury, and I've been working, all throughout during the pandemic when we were having like a spike before we hit the curve. So yeah.
How has it been?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty much like a scary thing as well too, because not a lot of our participants, we call it participants because they participate in the NDIS, and are wealthy. For some, they buy their groceries on a week-to-week basis. So that means every time you have to go and get them to be out in the community when they don't wear a mask. At that time, the question of wearing a mask or not wearing a mask was still like
a debate.
And it's your preference somehow. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But the thought that we go out and mix up with some people, look, we gotta be honest. Again, we are being reminded about social distancing every single day, every single hour, or something through the TV, radio, or through people. But sometimes it's broken. Especially in the supermarket. You can't help it. So you just sort of like hope and pray that, I don't get it, my participant don't get it, that, they're passing on to me or passing from me to them, and then where I live with my family, that sort of thing, that is very, very, very stressful. I wish I just sort of like been quarantined as well. One of those ones that say, stay at home, do your work at home, but I can't do it. So every day was a stressful day because of the pandemic. After we've gone through the other side of the curve, that's where I became more relaxed and said like, yep, we've gone through the past the storm, yep, and I can relax a little bit more, and up until now, so more relaxed.
And we're just trying to maintain at a level.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
What would you say are your challenges in terms of your creative side, the entertainment industry, during this time?
That's non-existent, pretty much, because
We can't do anything.
we can't do anything because venues are locked down. You can't have that one. Artists from overseas are not allowed to travel. So even the local artists, where are we going to have it? The only one that we have seen during the pandemic was Laban Kabayan, which was done by Eminent Productions. So this is sort of like, because they can't have everybody else in the one venue, so it was all to do with Zoom. But that's very difficult. That was very difficult. It's we're living in a changing time and in a challenging time. So for us, lucky we can't, because that's very technical. It's sort of like putting everybody else into the Zoom, and you're the ones controlling who speaks, who do we kick out from the frame, how do we sort of like share this one for everybody else to see. So that's a challenge that I never got to do during the pandemic. And was I happy about it? Yes, in a way, less stressful.
Yeah, because you're already trying to maintain your health and safety as well as the people that you're caring for.
Yeah.
Anyway, so having that added stress of trying to learn how to use Zoom or use a platform to create an event You're really, like you said before, your hair is probably gonna fall out.
I'll end up with no more hair.
Is there kind of like anything that you're doing in terms of events? Are you guys designing anything, or is it just
Completely shut down. Completely, we are planning, but very very slowly because it depends on like say for example with the launch of our CD, soft launch of our CD of our songs, we are gonna go do some planning about it, but nothing can stay concrete at this stage. So pretty much it's all up in the air. We can always just plan and then go to the next stage. Next time if the government says
no,
we're gonna have to go back.
Yeah, it's hard.
In a way, it's a good break for me and Albert somehow. But then again, obviously, if you're very used to doing things like that, your body will be looking after that as well too. I'm trying to do some online study, but it's not sinking in somehow. it's very hard to get motivated to sit down and study for yourself.
You like being around people.
Yeah, I like to be in a classroom situation because I can sort of like, for me, it's more of like I'll be able to interact, ask questions straight away and I'll get the answer. But with the online, can't do it. You don't have to wait. You have to study. You don't even know if what you're reading, what you're studying, the interpretation for the, say for example, the question or the paragraph or whatever it is that was given to you is correct by everybody else. So that's the challenge.
And in talking about people skills, do you think that that's really important to everything that you're doing?
Yes.
Being able to socialize and
skills in terms of
people skills, just like being able to talk to somebody.
You mean for me with my people skill? Yeah, I guess that's a plus for me. I used to, when I was young, very very young, and that's even before you were born. I tend not to sort of like socialize with a lot of people because I went, when I was growing up, I had my English class in the morning. And then I go to the Chinese class in the afternoon. In the Chinese class, I'm the most quiet person because I don't know how to speak. I'm in I've passed kindergarten and I'm then in grade 1, but no one's teaching me Chinese and how to read, to write, and all that sort of thing. So, and it's a very depressing sort of thing because it was also like in the case that if somebody get the highest mark, they get a lollipop or a candy from. I used to get nothing.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's the reality. But in the English class, I'll get the thing. So whatever I lose on the Chinese classes, I'll get it from the English class. So at a very young part of my life, I'm in the between. So my mom always pushes me, come on, show off this new Tom Jones dance, do the grind or something like that in front of other people. So I'll do it because there's a reward, like I'll get 2 pesos or 1 peso or something like that. I'll get something. And but then again, I developed the being more of an extrovert as years go by because I guess that's where I belong. And the people skill got developed much later because it goes with age, I guess. So you meet a lot of people your age, younger than you, older than you, so then you get to mix them up. So when you are thrust into a situation where you're gonna have to speak to dignitaries or like people from the high ranking in a company or something like that, you'll be able to present yourself, know what you need to say, know how you act in front of them, what are the protocols, what are the ethics, and that sort of thing. So that kind of like goes by observing people and listening proactively or actively, and being proactive somehow in some aspects.
Would you say that they're really important skills
in
making your events or your work successful?
Definitely, because through that you'll be able to sort of like capture the imagination of another person and be able to sort of like gain their trust. So the way you treat them is the way they will respond to your treatment. Treat them nice, you'll be treated nice. Treat them badly, then you'll be treated badly as well.
That's true. And if you were to look back at all the stuff that you've done before, what would you say was probably the toughest challenge that you had to overcome?
The toughest one. Wow, that's a good question. Uh, Look, every single one has got their own challenges.
Mm.
The toughest one, I guess, is when we have the Pista Sanayo, where the premier was there, the ambassador was there, the consul general there was there. There were the ministers of the local and federal governments were there, and you're gonna have to make sure that the show is as per what was scheduled. So when I'm doing a show, you can't talk to me. A lot of people would say that's the reason why they say he's soplado or something like that. So
Okay.
pretty much no. When I'm doing that one, my mind is just focused on this one because we want to deliver the best show that we could possibly do. We've done also, so that was the Pista Sanayan back in 2017. And also one other thing that was also is the fashion. We did that one in the Gallery of New South Wales.
How was that?
There's just because the people that you deal with are models.
Yes.
Some have got experience, some they don't have any experience, and then you're dealing with 5 different Filipino designers as well too. So the logistics side, where we're going to put all your costume, where we're going to put the room for changing for the girls, and then the guys. Of course, we can't put them all together. So all those sort of things. That's why
And this is your job.
Well, I do have my help as well too, but I'm just making sure that we go as per what we have, scheduled. First designer, then we'll have an intermission with the singer. So besides the models that you're making sure that they look pretty when they walk the catwalk or when they walk the runway and stuff, you're also looking after the performers to break so that they can change. The performance will be the one that's going to be able to sort of like fill in the gaps, so to speak. That for me was also the one of those big challenges. And when you work with international stars like Lea Salonga and David Pomeranz, what else? And the international artists.
So it's kind of like the pressure
Yes.
that comes from the
Yes.
people that you're dealing with and the people that you're creating a show for.
Yes, all that put together is a very, very, very stressful. And talk about the challenge. That is a very big challenge every single time. I guess with some of the shows that are like minor and stuff, you can wing it. But once we talked about like major ones that starts from the morning till the afternoon, or you got international stars coming. Yeah, because your Flagcom's name, me and Albert, is synonymous to Flagcom and stuff. We'll sort of like it's a reputation that we have to protect.
That's true, and that comes into you being really focused.
Yes.
How do you deal with like people saying that you're soplada?
I don't care. I just explained to them afterwards. I said like I'm working and stuff, so I really can't talk very much. And if you find me soplado, but just probably during the show. But after that one, you can sort of like talk to me. I'll be very friendly because I consider myself as a friendly person.
Because you can then relax. It's done.
That's
And
correct.
also at the end of the show, they realize that you've done an amazing job putting it together.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. Congratulations. So you get that one, but you can't help it. People just wants to show their appreciation by voicing it out.
And what would you say in the future? What are some projects? So you're still hoping to do the Mardi Gras next year?
Mardi Gras, we still are doing that one. There's the tribute to Mother and Father, the Ambassadors tribute as well too. We've got the launch of the CD for the Heroes of the World, the modeling franchise, as well as on the pipeline. Depending if South Korea would open, and we got a bubble travel between Australia and South Korea, we might as well too, but that's still on the pipeline. Very much up in the air, that one.
Yeah, that's still a lot of events. And if everything was to suddenly open, are you missing it? Are you missing kind of the chaos?
for the 10 years that we've been doing that one, yes and no. I can concentrate on other things at the moment. Then I don't have to worry about that one. So that in a way that I'm not missing it. But then again, afterwards, like I said, sooner or later that would come, and I was sort of like gonna get back into the action.
Would you think it would be difficult to, the moment that everything's like the restrictions lifted?
It will be difficult in the sense that because of the COVID, we're gonna have a different approach now. I don't know how you're gonna do social distancing up on stage if you've got a lot of people. How are you gonna practice that one? If we're back to normal, so pre-COVID, it's easy. But now there's a lot of restriction, the social distancing.
Because we're afraid of a second wave.
Exactly. So I don't know how we're gonna do that one. So there's gonna be a lot of planning to be done for us to sort of like be able to deliver a good show. Yeah, and at the same time adhering to the health guidelines by the government.
That's very important, not just for you, but for everyone who's going to attend too.
Correct.
And would you think that it would be difficult as well to bring people in? Like, do you think people would be hesitant?
Yes, especially when every show is it's a mixed crowd. When we had the Armida Reina here performing 6 years ago or something like that, so a lot of older people. So if we bring her back, or even Pilita Corrales, if we bring her back, a lot of the oldies would really like to hear her sing. The challenge is that are these people willing to sort of like risk, getting contracting the COVID to see their favorite star. So, but then again, that challenge is more for the producers rather than us. Us is more of like, how are we going to deliver a show that adheres with the New South Wales guidelines for COVID? That's the challenge. I mean, there's no guidelines at the moment as we speak. So how we need something to go by so that we will adjust our practice. We're going around finding a location so we can do the rehearsal. How do we organize performances? Can we put groups together? And the distances between it if we have to put a group. That's the reason why I'm not thinking about that one at the moment.
I think it's going to become more stressful.
Yeah.
Because when you're dealing with people's health and in events as well on stage, you don't know how you're going to do that.
Exactly.
Especially if it was like a situation like the musical. Sometimes you'd have to be really close to someone. So it's going to be really hard.
No, look, but in fairness, because the sports, contact sports especially,
it's allowed again.
It's allowed, but the thing is, there should be testings and stuff. So are we supposed to get these actors or the singers or the performers get tested before they can perform? There's a lot. I mean, like, that's the reason why if you ask me if I miss it, yes, and then I at the same time no. But if we are to come back to that one, there's a lot of challenges.
That's true. And with the challenges that you were talking about before, with the pressure of the people that you're producing a show by, would you say that they can turn into like your favorite moments?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if the challenge is there and we're able to sort of like deliver a good show that adheres to the guidelines, I'll be very happy. I'll be very, very happy.
What would you say has been your favorite moments in any of the shows that you've produced?
Well, that's a very tough question. But favorite moments, I guess, is that when the show is finished, all the staff comes together and said, "Wow, that's good. At least it's done." So most of the time after that one, we'll just sort of like, come on, let's have some McDonald's or let's have some Hungry Jacks or let's have something and just sit down, and enjoy, that we've delivered a good show.
Yeah, that's good. And what would you say you hope to see in like the future of events?
More exciting, more dazzling, more sequence, more lights. No, I guess it depends on like what kind of show we're going to be producing, or we're allowed to produce or allowed to be involved with.
What are you hoping to
get it? Like, I wish that we can find the vaccine so we can just start where we were before. Unless we have got the vaccine, it's so hard. And then mind you that not all people are a believer in vaccines.
Yeah.
So that's another hurdle you have to go past.
Who makes you smile when you are down? Who holds your hand when you can't stand up? Education, rounds and observation, checks your BP, pulse and dress your wounds. Day after day, night and day, we are here to help you. We know that sometimes you just want someone to talk to. No one understands you more than we do. We are here for you until you're good. If you break your bones, we'll nurse it better. Bump your head, we'll ease the pain. If you are scared, don't be, 'cause we're your friends. We smile though you don't know we haven't slept, and we are tired and all. We do these things so you get well, and you won't hear us complain. That's what it takes to be a nurse. Putting others first, we make a difference. Can you imagine life without a nurse? You know, to be a nurse is like no other. You have to be compassionate and true. Nursing isn't just a job. A nurse will do things out of love. Helping others really makes it all worthwhile. If you break your bones, we'll nurse it better. Bump your head, we'll ease the pain. If you are scared, don't be, 'cause we're your friends. We smile though you don't know we haven't slept, and we are tired and all. We do these things so you get well, and you won't hear us complain. And that's what it takes to be a nurse. Putting others first, we make a difference. Can you imagine life without a nurse? La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
There's a lot for me to learn from Charles, just from sitting and chatting with him today for a very good length of time. I learned not just from the work that I knew him by, but also the behind the scenes of what it takes to make it successful, but also how he's able to bring himself together, doing so many things at once, because I know him very well as someone who does community work, and he's also able to celebrate it in a way that he's able to acknowledge parts of his culture in the Australian community. And I really learned to appreciate the culture through the fashion, how the things that we celebrate over here in Australia. Even though that we are here in Australia and we live the Australian lifestyle, it's important for us to continue appreciating that side of our identity. It's still part of us that we hold very close to our hearts, and I hope that it's something you guys learn from this interview as well.